I don't know about you lot, but I am still on cloud 9. Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. It's a new season. I'm back in the GBFC office, and Chelsea have just destroyed Wolverhampton Wanderers 6-2 at the Molineux in the Premier League. And this, it's not 6 things we learned. If you want to watch the condensed match review, it's the previous video. This is going to be something that I'm trialing right now, and I would love to hear your feedback. Hit the like if you enjoy this. We're going to do things you might have missed from, and then whatever the result is. Maybe some games there's not much to talk about. Maybe some games it'll be a boring 0-0. Maybe we get battered some weeks. Maybe there are potentially era-defining games. And I know that might get some people that don't like to kind of jump when things start to look good and you don't want to be the optimist. But I'm going to say this, right? There's 12 things that I'm going to go through in this video today, all of which are massively positive discussions and conversations. And they're all kind of different to the things that I mentioned within the 6 things we learned. A lot of them are comments from the manager, comments from players after the game. And the reason I believe that this could be a defining moment in not only the new ownership's era, but for Enzo Maresca to get such a massive win, an emphatic win, while showcasing what he can do by changing a match at half-time, by seeing new signings link up for a goal on their debuts. There is so much here that we can unpack and so much to get us off our seats, get us excited. And just to see Chelsea score 6 goals in a game. I don't remember the last time we did that. I really can't remember off the top of my head. But we're going to start here with what Enzo Maresca wants to achieve this season. And this comes from the press conference after the game. I've taken most of the tweets today from Chelsea Dodger, the Blue Dodger, on X. I want to see my team play in the way we want to play. Compete in every game. This is the most important thing. And I think the way that I interpret this is that you're going to get games where last week against Manchester City, we come up against a team who have literally been playing the way that we want to play for 8 years. So when you see the way that Chelsea played last week, I was quite surprised. When I watched the game back, I actually think there was a lot of great positives from the performance, but we couldn't take our chances. Some days you will, some days you won't. Obviously, this game we actually flipping did. But we're playing against a team that won't need to have loads of chances in a game, because when they get one, Man City will punish you. They've got the best striker in the world. And they've also got players all over the field under the tutelage of Guardiola that will make sure that Chelsea, if we're not at least a 9 out of 10, we're going to get beat. And that is not going to be every single week in the Premier League. But the reality is, Maresca knows exactly what he wants from these players. And the only way, and the quickest way, not the only way, but the quickest way that we can get to a point where the players every single match know exactly what to do, opponent by opponent, but it's not always about reacting to who we're playing. It's about making sure that we go into the games, and for Maresca, it's about control. And as we move into the later comments from Enzo Maresca in this video, we'll start to see just how important controlling the football is for the way that he wants to play. Another thing that you might have missed from the game, and to be honest, I missed this. This is why I want to do this series, because 6 things we learned, I upload it straight after the match the majority of times, unless for whatever reason I can't record or I can't upload. And I was focusing so much on the fact that Chelsea were just so blistering going forward that I missed this from Levi Colwill. And I thought he had a good game, but I thought defensively we looked bad, but I don't necessarily think it was the defence. It was more the transitions. But Levi Colwill registered more successful passes, 69 out of 75. And more successful long balls, 6 out of 8, than any other player for either Wolves or Chelsea. Levi was also 100% on his successful ground duel battles, which is only 2 out of 2. But from a centre-back who has come under so much scrutiny, and to be honest, I think the ceiling for Colwill, we always knew it was going to be really high. But the way that he came back from that loan, we didn't see those levels. And I think there were times where last season, with the Chelsea defence always chopping and changing, we were quite erratic. We gave up lots of opportunities under Pochettino. I think with Colwill getting injured, it never gave him that time to step into a game. It never gave him that time to really walk into that Chelsea shirt. And when you've got your manager, which Enzo Maresca has said this week, that maybe this season Levi Colwill could be a potential vice-captain. You got Chelsea right now with Trevor Chalobah, who's been a player at the club for a long time, but he's not training. We're looking to sell him. There's 6 centre-backs at the club, yet we're still talking about maybe signing a centre-half. And what we're hearing from Maresca, Levi Colwill is his guy. What we're seeing from Maresca is that Wesley Fofana is going to be his partner. And as much as it wasn't a perfect defensive display, because of course we conceded 2 goals, and I think the 2 goals that we conceded should absolutely not have happened. But at the same time, when you look at the ability that Colwill has, we've heard so many stories about how good his passing is. When we actually get to see it in such a dominant performance like this, and he's starting attacks and he's doing that and he's making more successful passes than any other player on the field. When we're talking about Maresca wanting to build from the back, if your centre-back is putting in these numbers, then we absolutely must be doing something good. We move into the next thing. Noni Madueke's comments on Cole Palmer after assisting his hat-trick. He is cold and I am fire, so it mixes well. He has always got the ability to play the right pass at the right time, so it's brilliant. Now, I don't know about you lot, but this whole like fire and ice comparison thing, I love it. I don't know if it's because like I'm a visual kind of guy and there's little things that I will hear sometimes and words can like really boil up inside of me and get me excited about things. And it's probably why I make videos for a flipping living. But this is actually so true. And it's about like the nickname of obviously Cold Palmer and all that stuff. And I don't really go and say that much. So I'd rather come up with my own analysis and phrases. But Noni Madueke has the opportunity right now to make the right wing position his own. Cole Palmer was on the right wing last season because we didn't really have anyone consistently doing it there, which inhibited him from doing his best work, which is obviously central. When the turning circle, which is brilliant of Cole Palmer, has that ability to rotate out to the right, to rotate out to the left, to be able to scan everything around him, to make that little flick, to make that final pass. And for Noni to have this confidence that he's got, I've always thought with Madueke that you can see how good he could be. And because he's got this extra confidence, borderline arrogance, and I don't think he'd mind anyone saying when he's delivering that he is an arrogant footballer. And this is exactly what you need to go to the highest level. You've got to have that extra little something, which is not only just belief in yourself, but the ability to then execute it when you've been on the bench for the first 2 games of the season, after being one of the best, if not the best attacking player during pre-season, to wait your time, to come off the bench in Europe and score, to then be given a start and score a hat-trick, and it could have been a double hat-trick nearly for Madueke. We can't forget the fact that he won the corner for the Nicholas Jackson header. We're going to talk about him in this video too. His all-round performance, and as much as the word aura gets thrown around, I'm going to use it with Madueke here because I genuinely feel as though when you are outwardly kind of arrogant, if you can back it up, this is a sport that absolutely favours people that know they're really flipping good. And the numbers, which are the most important thing for us to look at, they back it up. You win games for Chelsea Football Club, you score yourself a hat-trick, and you're scoring more goals with your weak foot than you are with your strong foot. Nothing but praise for Noni Madueke from me coming out of this game. Now, he's also had some interesting things to say here about Enzo Maresca on the first Premier League win under Maresca. It is obvious his approach. Everyone saw what he did at Leicester last year. He is mad about the details. Even in the first game against City, there were some nice patterns of play, but we just couldn't finish it off. It's a great day today. I'm happy he's got his first Premier League win for Chelsea, and we go on to midweek in Geneva. Exciting. We're going to go to Switzerland, absolutely buoyed, and they're going to be quaking in their boots with what Chelsea are going to bring. I think when Enzo Maresca came in, we heard a lot of comments early on and a lot of people had their opinions about, was he actually that good? Were Leicester actually that good? Leicester fans weren't that disappointed when he left the club. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, okay, you won the championship. You weren't my first choice manager. Just going to put it out there. I didn't really want Maresca at first, but then when he got the job, I was like, I'm going to have to be open-minded to this. So I'm going to support whoever comes in. But I think the interesting thing is that when you're such a young team, This Chelsea project, the way that it's gone, particularly now that the media are just completely against us with this whole massive squad thing, no one knows what they're doing. If it goes wrong, it blows it out. It makes it explode in all the negative ways because it looks crazy, and then if you don't win, it is crazy. But if you do start to win, and you can see that it's the details, focusing here on Madueke's point about the details that Maresca focuses on. When you've got such a young, impressionable squad, if they understand what those details are, you can see the quality that this Chelsea team has. And I think from the early stages here, even in the City game, you can see that it's the fine details that are being understood. And when it clicks, it really flipping clicks. And as much as it wasn't a perfect win against Wolves, there was more than enough out there to suggest that, okay, Romeo Lavia has been a real defensive rock for us so far. Pre-season, good against Man City too. And the fact that he wasn't in there, you could see the frailties. But then also, it's credit to Maresca for keeping him in there last week against City and giving him such a prominent pre-season role. Because it's those details that mean we can see now that Lavia is going to be a massively important defensive player in this team. So we move into the comments again from Noni about probing. Today means a lot. I was really just trying to be clever and wait for the right moment. The system allows us to probe and keep the possession higher up the pitch. Maybe in the first half, it was a bit more end-to-end, and then we gain control in the second half. Now, this is also something that I didn't really talk about much in the 6 Things We Learnt video, but a massive reason why players like Pedro Neto in the second half, Noni Madueke in the second half, Cole Palmer, the reason that these guys get so much space, particularly out wide where Maresca wants his wingers to be stretching that touchline to be able to attack the fullbacks of the opposition. The reason why Madueke had so many times today to probe is very much also down to the work of Nicholas Jackson. Jackson opened the scoring for Chelsea inside 2 minutes. It's a great goal. But it's not just the goal that was brilliant about Jackson in this game. It was the way that as much as he was the striker and the most advanced player when you look at the lineup graphic, it was more so that he kind of played this half false nine game where we know that he loves to drop deep. He loves to get involved in the build-up play. But what this does is it creates space behind that Wolves midfield because all of a sudden, one of the players has to track the run of Nicholas Jackson, who drops deeper towards our midfielders and towards our defenders, and it creates this confusion. And then when you've got the players that can see the fact that you've got Pedro Neto, a 1v1 winger, Noni Madueke, a 1v1 winger, and you add into that brilliant concoction the creative genius of Cole Palmer, I think we absolutely cannot underestimate just how good Nicholas Jackson's movement was today. And then when he did get the chance to make the little flicks, the one-touch passing, which enabled Chelsea to be quick. If you're going to be probing at teams, you can't be predictable. To be probing and then getting positive results means that the opposition aren't always catching you when you're trying to do the same thing. And if you look at all of Chelsea's goals, we scored so many similar goals because of the movement of other players allowed for the space of isolation, then the confidence and the finishing of Noni to shine through. And Palmer had so much space because Joao Felix was making it for him when he came on, but Nicholas Jackson in particular, when he was still on the pitch, was creating so much space for the rest of the Chelsea players. So Enzo Maresca now talking about the substitution, I'm guessing, but we can go into it a little bit more. In the second half, we changed something, and it was better. I thought the intention in the first half was good, but we lost 4 or 5 easy balls from set pieces and counter-attacks. Isn't it just nice to have somebody who can, call a spade a spade? I'm watching this game and I'm thinking, yeah, it's good going forward, but, we got to stop giving the ball away and then being weak when it comes to being ran through. The second half was completely different, and we didn't lose any balls and were in control of the game. The tactical plan in the second half was the same, but we were a bit more accurate in the second half and didn't give away any easy balls. The turnovers that Wolves won, I'm not going to literally scapegoat Mudryk here because, look, we could easily go and say Pedro Neto is now the starting left winger and Mudryk's not good enough. It's not worth it. Mudryk could become a good player, but right now Neto is better. And in the second half, when Pedro Neto came on, he's just got this extra quality where it comes to, like, he doesn't always beat the man and he doesn't always keep hold of the ball, but he's just more clinical. Mudryk right now isn't a player playing with confidence, so sometimes there are going to be some players that know that and they might actually be reluctant to give him the ball. And I'm not for 1 second here saying that Mudryk's not good enough and Chelsea players don't want to find him. But there is an element of that in a game where you've got somebody that you know you can give it to and he's going to keep it and he's going to be looking for that run because he's got the footballing intelligence. And that is the difference. And that was exactly the difference in the second half. We had weak links in the first half of the game and we were losing midfield duels. But when we got the ball forward in the second half, we had players that were more clinical and then all of a sudden, everyone was making the right runs. We were more dynamic. And that has got a lot to do, in my opinion, with not only the substitution, but the way that Enzo Maresca must have said a lot at half-time to change the way that Chelsea played. And the amount of times last season that we would have lost a game like this where the energy's against us, we've got that excuse of, oh, we're such a young side and we can't cope under the pressure. We absolutely delivered beyond belief under the pressure going into this game. So, I don't know about you lot, but I would love to see Chelsea score 6 goals every single week. I know it's not going to happen, but Enzo Maresca on whether Chelsea attack like this every week, that is the intention. Praise the Lord, this is good. There are teams there that want the same, so it's not easy. In the first 10 minutes, we created 2 or 3 chances and scored a goal, and then we started to lose the ball. But overall, a good performance. Absolutely, there's always things we can improve. We can learn many things. I think realistically, you look at the Premier League and there is a massive golfing class between the Arsenals, the Man Cities, probably the Liverpools, and then there's a bunch of teams that you don't know what you're going to get, but they're good. You've got your Spurs, you've got your Villas, you've got your Newcastles, maybe your Brightons again this year, maybe your West Hams. And Chelsea are probably in that bracket right now. And you've got to take the opportunity when you're playing against a team that will be open, but then they believe in their ability going forward, because you should against Chelsea. You should try and create chances because we can be vulnerable. So I think when it comes to learning how Chelsea are going to be, I certainly for 1 second know for a fact that we're not going to win 6-2 every week, 6-1 or 6-0. It's impossible. Even Real Madrid don't do that. City don't do that. Well, they almost do, but you know what I mean. This is going to be something that we can build upon, but the fact that there are so many attacking positives, and that is without having someone like a Reece James on the field, who also provides brilliance going forward, are we still going to sign a Victor Osimhen? You know, like there's still so many things that could still improve on top of something that's a brand new strategy of how we're going to play, some brand new players. And again, we've only just started the season and we have literally learned from the past starts of recent years, Potter, Pochettino, is it going to click? Are we going to have a good start? Even under Tuchel, we're like, well, we just won the Champions League with this guy, but are we still going to be good? No. And we have a poor start to the season. And yes, this is only match week number 2. But I think we have learned so much from this game about what could be, and to see, bringing it back to the details that we spoke about earlier, to see these details already in fruition in a positive manner on the field for Chelsea is absolutely brilliant. Enzo Maresca on the Mudryk substitution, to keep talking about that for a sec, because I was not happy. In some moments we can manage some situations better. He was working hard off the ball, but on the ball, I expect a bit more quality from Misha. He had some good moments today, but the reason why was to change it and give Pedro some minutes. Now, the thing that we need to know about Mudryk, and we need to recognise, is that it is the final ball. It's the final decision. Sometimes he gets rid of it too early when he should try and take a man on because he's got the pace, and other times he will make the wrong pass or he won't make the pass at all and he'll run into trouble. What Chelsea were in that second half was efficient with when we released the ball, and as a result of being efficient, we didn't keep hold of it for too long, and every decision went in our favour. Every single little thing that Chelsea tried to do was the right thing. And even in the first half, where we weren't perfect, And we also had moments where we were awful and Caicedo got bullied. Enzo Fernandez looked as though he was chasing shadows. But another positive here, and in 6 Things We Learned, if you watched that video, if you didn't, well, you probably did already because the video is absolutely flying. I'm recording this one late at night because I just can't sleep when we win like this. It's too good. But Robert Sanchez, okay, this is another reason why, like, this was such a great win for Chelsea because you guys know it. Look, I'm a Jorgensen fan, mainly because I'm not sure about Sanchez. But the Cole Palmer goal, which might go down as the goal of the season, we don't know what we're going to score yet, but based on today, we might have a few contenders. But that Sanchez role was huge. I said it many times, this is Maresca. We started 1.5 months ago. When there is space in behind, we need to attack behind. When they sit back, it is difficult because there is no space in behind. We are in a moment where we started less than 2 months ago, and the players are still learning. Look. We've got to give praise where praise is due. It is brilliant vision, first of all, from Robert Sanchez. To see Nicholas Jackson there, the Jackson flick, the Palmer finish, it's delightful. We absolutely know that. But for Sanchez, this is a big moment for him too. And I think what is important to know here, to bring it back to what we were saying earlier about that Jackson dropping deeper, creating that space in behind, there is going to be times where as much as we might be slow in the build-up, particularly against teams that are going to play with a low block, this is a massive thing that we can do when it comes to counter-attacking goals, even against teams that aren't forcing us to counter-attack. It's not really a counter-attack, but it kind of is because it's a goal kick, and Wolves aren't switched on because what? They expect Chelsea to play out from the back. And I think it's the unpredictability and the fact that this goal really came against the run of play. Wolves are in control at the time that Sanchez gets it, rolls it out there. Maybe it's still rolling, don't matter. I don't give a shit about that. And then to see Jackson there and just the one touch and then the one, it's such a great goal. It's an incredible goal. So absolute credit needs to go to Robert Sanchez for that one. Cole Palmer. We've not spoken about him that much in this video, have we? Which is a weird one, but also, how nice is it to just have praise to heap on so many different players and it not just all be about Cole Palmer, but at the same time, a goal and 3 assists is incredible. And the point that we're going to talk about in a moment is about connections. But another thing that we've got here is that he also registered the joint most ball recoveries, 6, tied with Marc Cucurella, for Chelsea. This is also massive and cannot be underestimated and shouldn't be understated whatsoever. Cole Palmer, not only does he do the business in front of goal, and now he's literally a chauffeur for everybody else as well, with a hat-trick of assists in match week number 2. But he's now doing the defensive work too, recovering the ball, winning it back for Chelsea. I looked at him in the first 25 minutes and I was like, I don't know, he still doesn't look fully fit. He still looks a little bit lethargic. He's not taking the game by the scruff of the neck. And then I think the energy of the match and the way that Wolves were getting aggressive and what he did to distract the referee from Malo Gusto could have got Gusto sent off and then it's a whole different game. Maybe you didn't recognise that bit at the time. Cole Palmer never really gets like this. But Gusto made the foul and you can see the referee's kind of like thinking about what he's going to do with Malo Gusto. Could have sent him off. Because Gusto did get verbally warned by the referee that he could go. Palmer steps in, and he's got this just like aggression about him. He's like, nah, you know what? They might be trying to bully us here, but I'm not having this. Gets involved, gets himself a yellow card, and it's a brilliant yellow. Because it doesn't get Gusto the second red. And yeah, the work rate that we're seeing here from Cole Palmer, you expect the likes of Cucurella, Gusto maybe, to get those ball recoveries. But to see it from him is also massive. Not only that, the connection to assist the same player to score a hat-trick is amazing. As well as that, I want to finish this video by talking about player connections. Joao Felix and Pedro Neto. You cannot and we should not underestimate just how important it's going to be at Chelsea that these connections continue to build. When you've got a new team, you've got players coming in and out the door all of the time, you bet that players are going to be upset that they've lost Gallagher in the dressing room. Players will be upset that Trevor Chalobah isn't training with them, isn't playing with them. But to see 2 new signings and you'd think, maybe it's going to take them a while to bed in together. To see them connect like that for a goal straight away is massive. To see Palmer and Madueke with that connection on the pitch, to know, like, the fire, that all of this, right, is massive for Chelsea. And I think with Joao Felix right now, I think the issue that we have is that the midfield is looking a bit lightweight. We're going to get bullied on the transition at times, and Joao Felix can't start matches if we've got Enzo and Caicedo in the team. So for now, whether Pedro Neto is a starter, and look, from what we saw today, he should be a starter in the Premier League, Joao Felix to come on, and it once again adds another dimension as to how the game can change in Chelsea's favour. But as of right now, I don't think Joao Felix could start. Nkunku is also on the bench today, which is good because I think we need to rest players and not rush players that are injury prone back into too many minutes when you've got Conference League as well. I think that this is one to watch. I think the celebration from Neto was just amazing. Him being carried, like everything about this win was massive for Chelsea. And then we've also got to talk about Nicholas Jackson, who we're going to wrap up the video with that one actually. He puts a post out on Instagram telling John Obi Mikel to shut his mouth, don't talk shit, we are killing ourselves for Africa, love heart, football emoji, world emoji with Africa on the map. I'm not entirely sure what all of this is about, but obviously Mikel has been a massive advocate of pushing Osimhen to Chelsea. Mikel has had a fair few outspoken words recently about Chelsea Football Club, what's going on, transfer business, need a goal scorer, need a striker, blah, blah, blah. I'm not entirely sure about this, but Nicholas Jackson scores in 98 seconds, put in a brilliant performance, and Chelsea, I like it when these players, I'm not saying well done Jackson for telling Mikel to publicly shut his mouth, whatever, like it's not ideal, and it could kind of tarnish things if you wanted to look at it that way, but players are fighting for this badge. Players are fighting for this shirt, and that is the difference maker. When the media is against you, when everyone's laughing at us and thinking, what the bloody hell are they doing? To have players that care as much as they seem to right now, to have Cucurella squaring up to midfielders because they've just injured Caicedo maybe, like going in on his mate's ankles, like, come on, isn't this good? Isn't this everything that we want to see from Chelsea? Some fight, some passion. Yeah, maybe on social media we could be a bit smarter at times. Wolverhampton might be a shithole. Might not be. Depends what you like in life, really, doesn't it? Noni thought it was, but he ended up just taking him to the cleaners, didn't he? What a win. Chelsea have won 6-2. This is like a new, longer kind of video on GBFC. If you enjoyed yourself, please let me know by smacking a like on the video and subscribe if you're new around here and haven't already done so. This has been, I've actually wrote this down in the classic GBFC notebook, 12 things you might have missed from Wolves 2, Chelsea 6. I'll see you in the next one.